Imagine a Europe blanketed by the unstoppable thunder of Mongol hooves, as cities like Paris, Rome, and London fall under the shadow of Mongol rule. How different would the world be if the Mongols hadn't just reached the borders of Europe, but had conquered it entirely? What if the fierce cavalry of Genghis Khan's descendants tore through the European heartland, reshaping history and leaving a legacy far beyond anything we know today? This isn't just a shift in boundaries. This is a reimagined world that could change everything from politics to religion, from culture to technology. Let's go back to a time when the future of Europe hung by a thread and explore what might have happened if the Mongol Empire had seized control. Chapter 1. Mongol Invasion Reaches Europe. The Mongol Empire, the largest empire in history, stretched from the edges of China to the Caspian Sea. They had conquered nearly everything in their path, with European kingdoms watching in fear as Mongol scouts neared their borders. In 1241, the Mongols launched a devastating assault on Europe, cutting down armies in Poland and Hungary. But then, as suddenly as it began, the campaign stopped. Genghis Khan's successor, Ogedei Khan, died, and the Mongol generals returned to Mongolia. But what if they hadn't? In this alternate scenario, Ogedei Khan's death doesn't halt the campaign. Instead, the Mongols continue their ruthless advance, capturing Poland, Hungary, and pressing further into Germany. The nations of Europe, fragmented and unprepared for the Mongols' brutal and rapid warfare, struggle to form alliances. England, France, and the Holy Roman Empire are in a desperate race against time, as the unstoppable tide of Mongol warriors brings terror and destruction. Chapter 2. Mongol Rule in European Society. Under Mongol rule, European cities are transformed. The Mongols implement strict governance, establishing military outposts and enacting laws that challenge existing European norms. Imagine Paris, with its winding medieval streets now bustling with the flow of Mongol traders and soldiers. Christian churches coexist alongside Mongol shrines, and suddenly, European society is torn between its old traditions and the new Mongol customs imposed upon them. The cultural fusion begins, bringing both cooperation and tension. The Mongols, tolerant of religions but strict in their rule, impose codes of conduct that reshape daily interactions and challenge traditional European ways. In this new order, military skill gains priority over noble lineage, shaking up long-standing hierarchies. New alliances form and rivalries deepen under the pressures of foreign rule. Chapter 3. Fall of Feudalism, Rise of the Mongols. One of the most significant impacts is the collapse of European feudalism. The Mongols, highly mobile and organized, established a network of regional administrators, replacing local lords who had governed lands for generations. Under Mongol rule, loyalty to the Khan supersedes all other loyalties. While many European lords lose power, some nobility might remain influential by cooperating with Mongol governors, ensuring some continuity within the complex European society. In place of feudal land ownership, the Mongols introduce a system of tax collection and centralized governance. Ordinary people find themselves paying taxes to foreign rulers, but they also gain some degree of protection, as the Mongol Empire enforces order through its highly disciplined troops. Over time, the European economy shifts from a feudal model to a tributary system under the Mongols, marking a profound shift in how society operates. Chapter 4. A Tech and Warfare Revolution. The Mongols bring with them technologies and innovations from across their vast empire. They introduce gunpowder from China, and in this alternate history, gunpowder spreads rapidly through Europe, changing warfare forever. As the Mongols consolidate power, they introduce new forms of artillery, devastating European castles and reshaping military tactics. With Mongol traders and scholars, knowledge flows into Europe from the Islamic world, China, and Central Asia. European scholars gain access to advances in medicine, astronomy, and mathematics, sparking an early scientific awakening that blends Eastern and Western knowledge. Libraries are established in European cities under Mongol patronage, and the seeds of a new intellectual era are planted as Mongol rulers encourage the study of diverse disciplines across their empire. Chapter 5. Religion under Mongol rule. Religious conflicts simmer as Christian Europe grapples with the presence of Mongol rulers who are not bound by Christianity. The Mongols allow religious freedom, but they show favoritism toward certain faiths, which stirs up resentment. In this scenario, Christian authorities, especially the Vatican, face an unprecedented crisis as the Mongols favor religious pluralism, allowing Buddhist, Muslim, and shamanistic practices to exist alongside Christianity. This tolerance sparks theological debates across Europe. Some Europeans view the Mongols as God's punishment for the sins of Europe, while others see an opportunity for reform. A religious revival could emerge, with movements calling for purification and unity against the Mongol rulers. Rather than secret gatherings, Christian resistance might take on more open forms, using public sermons and gatherings to inspire solidarity and rebellion under foreign rule. Chapter 6. Europe's New Identity. Decades pass under Mongol rule, and a unique hybrid culture emerges. European languages absorb Mongolian words, and Mongol customs influence everything from fashion to literature. Imagine European cities where Mongol-influenced clothing styles and exotic foods are now common, and Mongol words enter the local vernacular. Trade routes established by the Mongols connect Europe to China, the Middle East, and beyond, bringing spices, silk, and new ideas into European cities. This interconnectedness accelerates the evolution of European society, as the rigid social structures of the past give way to a more diverse and cosmopolitan way of life. Over time, European identity becomes intertwined with Mongol culture. A new generation of Europeans grows up with Mongol rule as their norm, embracing the unique blend of Eastern and Western influences in their daily lives. Yet, while Mongol governance brings stability and trade, it also sparks resistance movements, as some Europeans yearn for independence and the restoration of their cultural identity. Chapter 7. The Collapse of the Mongol Empire in Europe and its Legacy. No empire lasts forever, and in this alternate history, the Mongol Empire eventually faces challenges from within. Rebellions begin to break out across Europe, as resentment builds and Europeans rally under charismatic leaders determined to reclaim their lands. Inspired by stories of independence, these leaders unite different factions, creating the first true European coalition. The final years of Mongol rule are marked by battles and uprisings, and eventually, the Mongols withdraw from Europe, leaving behind a transformed continent. With the Mongols gone, Europe is left to rebuild, but it is forever changed. The collapse of feudalism, the spread of new technologies, the blending of cultures, and the complex layers of religious belief have reshaped the foundations of European society. In this alternate world, Europe emerges with a stronger sense of unity, a blend of Eastern and Western knowledge, and a more open view of the world beyond its borders. The legacy of the Mongol conquest lives on, not just as a fleeting period of domination, but as the beginning of permanent connections with Asia, influencing Europe's economy, fashion, and intellectual life. What if the Mongols had conquered Europe? It's a question that echoes through history, a tantalizing what if that reminds us of the fragility of empires and the forces that shape civilizations. Would Europe have thrived under Mongol rule, or would it have resisted with force? Drop your thoughts below.